Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to talk about specifically accountability and why it's going to be a very, very important component, a crucial component with everything that you do in your journey, in life, in business, in relationships, with basically everything. Because remember that we're not silos in and of ourselves. We need to be able to interact with other people, to be able to bounce ideas off of other people, to be able to get out of our own echo chamber. Because oftentimes, especially if life is not going perfectly in accordance to whatever you think should be happening based off of what you're doing, like nobody feels that way. You have to ask yourself, okay, well, if it's not happening perfectly exactly as I think it will, or think it should go, or hope that it will go, then what is it that I'm doing, either practically or psychologically? Like, am I thinking about the problem properly? Am I doing things in the wrong order? Am I doing things in the right way? Am I thinking about things in the right way? Should I be picking a different vehicle? Is it me? Is it the other person? Is it them? Is it this? Is it that? Like, what is it? And so oftentimes when you're caught up in that whirlwind of potentiality, as far as like what could be the potential problem, is you need somebody on the same or a similar journey with you so that you can be able to have conversations with that person, so you can basically have a partner that's going to be able to not only keep you accountable but also keep you on the path, right? Keep you straight on the path. So you could see this with things like Alcoholics Anonymous, right? They have a sponsor, they have a group of people that they go to every single week. You could see this with different communities, right? Bible study. Go to a Bible study every single week. Keeps you honest. You could see this with meetings, right? Sales meetings every single morning. You got a sales meeting. Talk about your numbers, projections. What are your wins? What are your losses? What are you like? Then you do training, right? Typically, training happens every single day. So essentially, is whatever it is that you're doing with your life, and especially as it relates to building your character, building your principles, creating processes that are actually effective and helpful for you, taking care of your temple, taking care of your body, your mind, making sure that you're thinking things in the right way, that you are acting in accordance with certain principles that is going to basically, through the process that you're going through should be able to apply to many other different processes individually. So basically, you have like a general process, right, for what you should be doing every single day and in accordance with your own standards. That process ideally fits into every other thing that you do, whether it's your leisurely activities, hobbies, relationships, your professional life, if you have a side hustle, finances, whatever, right? Athletics, diet, like everything that you do, all of those individual processes should basically stem from like a holistic process that you're developing. And so when you have all of these different moving parts, all of these different variables, if you don't have somebody that you could have a conversation with, if you don't have a, it's either a community that you got to get involved with or just somebody who's on the same path. It's going to be very, very hard for you to stay focused and stay honest and stay on it, right? So one piece of advice here is whatever it is that you're doing, try to find either a group of people or someone who you can go to for support in that particular area that you're trying to develop, whatever that happens to be. That's why you can see when people leave me comments as an example, I will answer the comments. Like I want to make them like I want to show everyone that I am on their team. Like I'm on their side, I'm advocating for them, right? Because to be honest with you, I have like 136 subscribers on my YouTube channel, and I've recorded like 100 videos. That's not that many subscribers, but nevertheless, like I treat each one like gold, right? Because your attention is very valuable. So I'm thinking, if I have your attention, I have to give you some kind of value back. These are not just numbers on a screen, right? I'm not looking at these subscribers or like this. It's not like data points to me. It's not numbers on a screen, right? These are actual people, right? You're an actual person. You need actual support with whatever it is that you're doing. If you're playing soccer, you need support to be a really good player, right? You need a coach and you need other players, right? You need a coach, you need a setting, right? A field, you need some pylons, you need a couple of soccer balls, you need your cleats, right? You need some things, the conditions that are in place, you need the environment, you need your coach and your players. Like you need things to be in place for you to be like an excellent soccer player. So yeah, I mean, keep that in mind. Number one, just know that I'm here to support you along your journey. Number two, if you have like specific things that you're doing, like let's say, for example, um, the examples that I gave, right? Whatever, Bible study, alcoholism, sports, right? Team sports. It's like you want to play a sport. It's good to find other people who play the same sport. Like yesterday, I was at the gym downstairs in my condo, and this guy he wanted to work in with me, and man, we pushed each other to the max. So like sometimes when you have each other there, you're just there like screaming, like not screaming, but you know how sometimes in the gym, you're hyping the other person up. You're like, you got two more, let's go. No, you're not done yet. You're not done yet. Push one more out. And you're saying that to each other, and you're like they're squeezing and you're hearing somebody basically like motivating you and encouraging you and pushing you and giving you all this like positive energy, like you can do it, you can do it. It's like that'll generate some energy, man. Like that'll generate some energy. So keep that in mind. If you're solo, if you're by yourself, I'm telling you, we're social creatures. We can't just do things on our own. We can't just be isolated and just do things on our own and be very effective and also have positive emotions and continue to be encouraged and motivated. Like I talk about all this self-parenting, self-talk, but remember that takes a long time to develop, and it also develops in the process of a community. Like especially when I was developing all of these different principles, all these different processes that I talk about, all these different skills and tools that I use, I was I was essentially developing them in private, but in the public setting, that was like my my stage, if you will, right? That was where I put everything into practice. You can't just sit there meditating like, a lot of people who are so-called enlightened or so-called, meditative gurus or people like they're just very strange, like not very social people. They don't want to really deal with people. They get very easily irritated by people. They kind of like interrupt them from their own flow or from their own process of enlightenment or whatever. It's like that. They have it backwards, right? People are your practice. Like the world is your practice. You have to show what you know. You have to demonstrate that. And the only way that you can do that is through feedback with what you're doing, right? So you're doing something, and then you're pinging off somebody else, right? Because here's the thing: is that you can't control other people's reactions. It's part of their process. But remember, there's this old expression: is that if you're doing something, I don't remember exactly how it goes, but something to the effect of, if one person doesn't like you, you can write it off, right? Let's say, for example, you're at work or people that you know, or it's about a specific topic. You can write it off. Two people, you might want to start thinking three people. Okay, well, maybe you should start seriously considering that, there's something that you're doing or saying, or the way that you're behaving that's off-putting. Is it four people, five people? At what point do you start to self-reflect? So that's why you want to do things into practice. So you might say, and I agree, that other people's reactions are a reflection of their process, but you also have to be able to be attentive and self-reflective, right? Which means as a kid, as an example, you see kids on the schoolyard, like a 12-year-old kid. Let's take, for example, grade 7, right? If that kid doesn't have any friends, it's not other people's fault, right? It's not necessarily the kid's fault either, because maybe it was the way the kid was conditioned, but it's something. The point here is that, let's leave that aside as far as like the free agency and the fact that his brain isn't developed or her brain isn't developed. But the point is that it's something that the kid is doing, right? It's something that the kid is doing or not doing, or saying or not saying, that's basically putting off other kids, especially if the kid is a loner. And you may have either experienced this yourself personally or seen other kids like this, right? It's something that they're either doing or not doing, or saying or not saying. And oftentimes the excuse is it's other people, because again, the anger, the resentment is going to come in. And typically the kids that are, they don't really have any friends, they have no friends, and the ones that get very like angry and bitter and resentful, they're actually very intelligent. But the problem is that their rationality, like their ability to use logic, works against themselves, because they start to convince themselves that it's the world. And that's typically speaking, especially when you become more and more isolated, more and more angry. That's how, the Columbine, the school kids who shot up the school, that's exactly what happened, if you read their manifesto. So the point here is that you do not want to isolate yourself. I'm not saying that you're going to become a school shooter, okay? That's not what I'm saying. You're probably not even in high school. But the point is, like, you don't want to get into inhabit the space of like judgment and resentment and accusations and self-blame and self-flagellation and you're just like miserable and you're despairing and you're alone. I'm telling you, I felt all of these emotions, right? For a long time. I'm 35, for like 30 years. And here's the thing is like we all feel them. I even still feel them to this day sometimes, right? But the difference here is now that when I go through this, the intensity is much lower, right? They happen less frequently. So the intensity of those negative emotions the intensity is lower, the frequency is shorter. And also when it does happen, I'm able to like coach myself or be able to like check myself because I have different structures in place where I can essentially continue moving forward and not dwell on these things and not let those things get me down and discourage me and whatever, right? So they're still kind of like moments, but they're more like fleeting here and there. But this is a natural part of the human experience. So don't make anything about your experience wrong, but just remember that in order for you to learn and to grow, you're going to need accountability. You're going to need mentors. You're going to need people that you can trust, that you can go to, right? A community of people or, individual people. But the point is like you need people, you need the right people around you. So make sure that you're surrounding yourself with the right person or the right people, right? You're actively engaged, and that way, whatever support that you need, you're going to be able to get it, and you're going to be able to improve on your process. So point is, I'm also here to support you, right? So if you have any questions, if you want me to answer something for you, if there's something on your mind, you can see all the videos on my channel. I record a lot of videos, but if there's something like more personalized that you want me to record for you, just leave it in the comments, right? My channel is still to the point where I can do it. So yeah, if you like this video, just like it, subscribe to the channel. That always helps. And you can sign up for my newsletter, follow me on X as well. And that's it for me. If you have anything else, let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you soon.